You see the notification, you open it, you read every word, and then you put your phone down and do nothing at all. Maybe you tell yourself you'll reply later, when you have more energy, when you know what to say, when the moment feels right. Sometimes later comes, sometimes it doesn't, and in the meantime, the message just sits there, read, understood, and unanswered. You're not angry at the person, you don't dislike them, you thought about them the whole time you were not responding. And somehow that makes it harder to explain, not easier. Because from the outside, this looks like avoidance, or disrespect, or indifference. But from the inside, it feels like something else entirely. Something quieter, something the word lazy doesn't come close to covering. So what's actually happening? Here's the first thing you should know. You are not rude, you are not broken, and you are almost certainly not as indifferent as your silence makes you look. What you're experiencing is a very real, very human psychological response, one that makes complete sense once you understand what's driving it. Your brain isn't failing you, it's protecting you, and it's been doing this for a long time. For a lot of people, receiving a message doesn't feel like receiving information, it feels like receiving an obligation. The moment you reply, a conversation begins, and a conversation has no clear end. It requires presence, responsiveness, emotional availability, and for someone whose nervous system is already stretched thin, that invisible contract, the one that says, "now we're talking," can feel genuinely overwhelming. This is your nervous system reading social interaction the way it reads any demand, as something that requires resources you may not have right now. Psychologists call this social energy depletion, but you've probably always just called it not being in the right headspace. The message arrived at the wrong moment. You weren't ready to be a person someone needed. So you read the message, which felt manageable, and closed the door before the conversation could begin. That's not coldness, that's self-preservation. There's another layer here, and it lives farther back. For people who grew up in environments where communication was unpredictable, where expressing a need could go unacknowledged, or worse, where responding meant getting pulled into someone else's chaos, silence became a form of safety. Not answering meant staying neutral. It meant not opening a thread that could spiral. This is attachment at work. When connection felt unsafe or unstable in early life, the nervous system learned to hesitate before engaging, to pause before responding, to protect itself from the vulnerability of being seen and then disappointed. And the brain, being the efficient machine that it is, filed that lesson away. Years later, a text from a coworker or a friend or even someone you love can trigger that same ancient caution, not because they're dangerous, but because openness once was. You didn't choose this pattern, it chose you. And for a long time, it kept you safe. But here's the part nobody tells you. It's not just about protection. Sometimes the delay is about perfection. There are people who don't reply not because the message felt like too much, but because they don't yet know the right thing to say. The reply they're composing in their head isn't good enough yet. It doesn't fully capture what they want to express. It might be misread, it might fall short, and so they wait. For clarity, for the right words, for the version of themselves who knows exactly how to respond. This is the people-pleasing pattern wearing a different mask. On the surface, it looks like avoidance, but underneath, it's a deep fear of being misunderstood, of saying the wrong thing, of disappointing someone through imprecision. The message isn't being ignored, it's being held, turned over carefully, examined, waiting for the response that will finally feel adequate, which sometimes never comes. The behavior also shifts across a life. What it means to leave a message unread at 23 is not the same as what it means at 35 or 40. Young adulthood often comes with a particular brand of communication anxiety, a hyper-awareness of how you come across, of what every message means socially. The delayed reply at 20 is often about impression management, about not seeming too eager, too available, too much. But later, the reasons get quieter. Life fills in. Responsibilities multiply. The silent inbox isn't a statement anymore. It's just one more thing that slipped through the cracks of a mind trying to hold everything at once. The unanswered message is in a strange way a kind of anchor. It keeps the world at a slightly manageable distance. It creates a pocket of time that belongs only to you, where you haven't agreed to anything yet, haven't opened the door, haven't let the next thing begin. It is, for some people, one of the only forms of control that still feels available. Not a wall, a pause. The difference matters. If you see yourself in any of this, there's nothing here that needs to be fixed tonight. The part of you that hesitates before responding is not your worst quality. It's a layer of protection that developed for real reasons, in real moments, against real pressures. It adapted you to something hard, and it stayed because, on some level, it still makes sense to some part of you. You are not someone who doesn't care. You are someone who needs more time, more space, more quiet before you can let someone in. That's not a character flaw. That's a nervous system that learned caution. The message will be there, and so will you, when you're ready.